T. Clark here, and this video will review the AP Computer Science A 2019 CED question number 3, talking about arrays or array lists. So first thing they give me is that the Gizmo class talks about gadgets. So only thing I need to worry about for the Gizmo class are 3 things: that it has a get maker, which returns a string. It has an is electronic, which returns Boolean. So these are both accessor methods, getter methods. Even though it's an is, remember, getter methods for Booleans use a keyword is or has or something. So they're both accessor methods. Then the last method is the equals, which we'll do in part B, I think. So next thing I should say is that we have this online purchase manager, which will have a bunch of gizmos. So let me scoot over. An online purchase manager has a private array list of gizmos called purchases. So I have that already written out in my REPL. So what I want to do in part A is I want to count electronics by maker, and I'm given a string maker. And that'll return count. So I'll skip part B for now, and I'll say, okay, part A says to write that method, which will examine the array list instance variables. Let's zoom out. Called purchases, determine how many are electronic and are manufactured by a specific maker. So I'm assuming that is declared in this example. So if I say, if I use this array list or this online purchase manager, it'll have the array list set up of gizmos that'll have this maker that is electronic, this maker is non-electronic, this purchase will be electronic with a maker XYZ. The fourth purchase, index 3, would be non-electronic with made by LMNOP. Index 4 purchase would be electronic, made by ABC, and the last one would be not electronic, also made by ABC. So if I count ABCs that are electronics, it would be 2, because there are 2. This one is ABC and electronic, and this one is ABC and electronic. This one's not electronic. Even though it's by ABC, it's false. Same with this one. If I look for LMNOP, there's none. This is only one, it's not electronic, so it's 0. XYZ, opposite, there's one that's there. That's true. There's only one purchase that's made by XYZ, and it is electronic, so it's 1. And then QRP, there are no purchases by QRP, so it's 0. So that's what I do. I'll make this method. So first things first, I know it's a count. So I want to set up my count. And I always like using the key term or the variable name result. But since it's a count, I start counting at 0. Then at the end, at the bottom of the page, I write down return result. I'll return that count. Okay, I want to loop through all the purchases. So this way I'm going to use an enhanced for each loop. So for each gizmo, I'm going to call it purchase. So for each purchase so remember, in the is the colon, in the purchases list. So for each purchase from the purchases, I'm going to do something. I'm going to count if it's something. So if it's electronic, so what I need to do is I say, okay, purchase. And since purchase is a gizmo, I know I can use the accessor method is electronic. So if the purchase is electronic, and if the purchase's name is the same as a maker name. So I'm going to start with the maker from the string right here. So if that maker equals, and then inside the equals, I'm going to say the purchase maker. What this does is look at the maker of the purchase, and it'll compare it to the maker that's given to me in the parameter up top. And I could have flipped this around. I could have said purchase.getMaker.equals maker, but I like showing it this way. Okay, then the last thing I would have to do now is in the if statement, what was the purpose of this method? The purpose of the method is to count. So I need to count the result in this case. So I'm going to add 1 to the result. So I have count electronics by maker, start the count at 0, return a result at the end. loop through all the purchases. In this case, I used a enhanced for loop. I could have done for int I equals 0, I less than purchases.size, I plus plus, and then it would be purchases dot, so let me type it out. It would have to be so if I was doing it with a normal for loop with I instead of purchase, I'd have to use the purchases.getI.isElectronic. So that's one way you could do it. You could use it and work perfectly fine, but I just use the enhanced for loop in this case.